Cool. Yeah, I'll post the link again in chat. There's the link to my channel. Yo. Just give me a sec here. I'm just sending out links. Just sending out links to the Telegram and to X. Let's see here. Let's get some lo-fi going. What is this? No, let's not do that. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Okay, let's get it on X. Just reset this guy too. There we go. Okay. Going live. So, title of the stream, Sol Outperformance and Gme Is Primed. You guys can take a look at my Telegram if you guys want. Links are in my YouTube for sure. Yeah, GME love, GME love. I'll probably chart GME first, just to cover that stuff, because I did show this out to the GME community, so we got some of those guys in here. Let me just pull up my deck screener. What we got? GME there. Perfect. This is gonna be oh yeah, this is the Dex Tools one. Yeah, so this is what we were looking at last time. This was our psychology chart. And then we made this was our disbelief that we were talking about. You know, we might have to pull this out. This might take a little bit longer, as people are saying. Someone was telling me March 21st for all-time high, so I'm gonna mark that because it's my birthday, that I want that day to be all-time high. So I'm a little biased, definitely a little biased on that one, but yeah, all-time high March 21st. It does look, whoops, it does look fairly accurate. If you look at that as a big correction. And I will say that we were looking at, let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh yeah, I can find it right in my TG. So just to show you guys here real quick in the Telegram. So this was the Harambe and GME charts sort of side by side. This is really good to look at stuff like this because you can see the same sort of patterns happen, right? So we're really close. I think this is kind of our pivotal point. That's why I've put, you know, Gme is primed right now. This is like probably the primest type of chart you could get. If you look at this as well, like a lot of people use Fibonacci. We're just right on the 6.18, sorry, 0.618 retracement. So I mean, this thing's ready to bounce. Yeah, I mean, as for me, I like the coin for sure. Definitely a little biased. Let's get deck screener. I got more stuff on here. There we go. This is where the mess comes in. So we can see here we came down off this, you know, major correction, and we bounced off the 886. This was our 886 level right here. I have marked out. Bounced off it again, and then we broke through. But this was kind of like what you could consider a deviation. This is a deviation underneath the zone. Let's go up to the 4 hour. As you can see, I had this actually marked out, the fibs marked out on there too. So yeah, we got some lines of interest here. We can see we bounced off the 886. Again, we corrected up to this sort of area of interest. I had this marked out. This was the bottom of our first move up. This was where we created a bottom. So of course we're going to have resistance here, right? So we see resistance, pulls back, resistance again, but it breaks through. It tries to create it as support, but it doesn't have that ability. Not enough strength yet, I guess. You know, there's still a lot of selling. As we can see, a lot of red candles here. A lot of red candles. So there's still a lot of selling, and that's, you know, of course, understandable when you got things like, you know, things popping up and running 100x in a few hours. People get sort of cold-handed, and I mean, would it be? I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but they get weak. You know, paper hands. So paper hands out, and we're getting our strong hands in here. So we had this. We were looking at this. So we seen this. This was the downtrend that was created, and then we had this I marked out as well as an inverted head and shoulders, right? And then we had this. I mean, you could debate that the shoulder line was actually here, and then that would have been the run up. So pretty almost to a T that it did run that up. Right, so we had that inverted head and shoulders play out. The bigger one that we haven't had play out is this one, right? I marked this on the chart and was showing you guys, look, inverted head and shoulders here as well. So then on this one, we're looking sort of probably around here for the shoulder line, right on this 004. That's our shoulder line. So we want to see this now after it's tagged down. We want to see it run up and break through that. I don't know if that's what we see. Probably something more like that, right? So up to here and then back down. Probably something like that we have play out. This is my big box range that I had. This box range is based off the volume that happened in this first run up. So first run up, you know, major run, and then first run up, and then it continues. So this was sort of our volume correction where it came back down and touched into this zone and then continued on out, right? So it created this big box range or this yellow line as a midpoint for support. So again, we want to see that this support which turned into resistance as we went to the underside. We want that to turn into support again. So something like that, potentially. This is where we're targeting. Actually, right around here. Probably just do a big circle up there. So that's kind of where we're targeting for March 21st. So I'm just trying to see how that's going to happen. Yeah, there's going to be some corrective maneuvering happen up here as well. If we were looking at Haram's chart, Haram, so that one went, you know, down like this and then straight up, and then it shot up past its to do something like that, right? That's typically what we see these meme style charts do. I don't know, that's a pretty rough drawing. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it happens sooner, maybe it happens later. I think this is kind of what we're looking at. Again, this is I think the low area for this place, just because we can see right here we tapped on the 886. That was where we created our higher low, right? So we have a low, a lower low, higher low. That's where we tapped that higher low, And now we're going to create some support here and then shoot on up. So yeah, very primed. We can even drill down. We were on something like the 15-minute. So we broke this trend and continued up. You know, we went low to high, and then now we're looking for a buy. Generally, when you're in a strong uptrend, which, you know, we're in a fairly strong uptrend from this point here, we had a correct off that. We can see here we corrected off that down again to 786, and then now sending back up. We hit that 786 up. Now we tap the 618 down, and we should be correcting up out of here. So something like that. Kind of corrective patterns upwards. This stuff could happen a lot faster. It doesn't have to happen that slow, but you know, right here, we're gonna have some forms of resistance. That's where we're gonna like to see buyers step in there and there. But I think once we're kind of over this sort of area, we're definitely gonna move up fairly quickly and have probably an easy time going past this, considering the amount of FOMO that's going to be involved in the price action moving up. So yeah, guys, a lot of things looking good on this chart for sure. The stochastic is sending down, so it's about to turn around on the hourly. And then we can see here we'll definitely look for a bounce on the 0 for the MACD. Probably something like that will happen. Bounces generally, as we can see, are happening around 40 for the RSI. You know, it's between like 43 and 46. It's bouncing. So I think we continue on upwards. We could get one more flush. It's, you know, it's not impossible that we get one more flush here just before we move. Definitely having a lot of that type of price action when it comes to the whales and things like that. 786, 886, and we've got this line right in between them at 2228. I don't think it goes any lower than that at any point here. You know, that's kind of like when, again, we're looking at that Haram chart. That was this this sort of curvature here. That, you know, even if we do go down to here, that's where we bounce. But it would happen, I think, a lot faster. Something like that. Either way, lots of upside, looking like lots of upside available here for GME, so keep your eye on this one. Whoops. Yeah, keep your eyes on this one. You know, I think once we get to this 1 cent area, it's really gonna rocket past there. There's not much volume. Let's see, actually. Yeah, let's put that on. So this was something else I wanted to show you guys. This is on the 4-hour. We don't have any data on the 100 MA for the daily, but even on a daily, like, this looks really bullish, right? So this is just creating a big correction and then a big W. So yeah, should be I think that actually probably looks like the most accurate. Right to 21st, yeah. Something like that. Yeah, so what I was saying is on the 4-hour here we can see what has happened. So I have this boomer MA because it does help price help us understand where price is going to respect. So we can see here, you know, it really did respect it quite well, and then it tried to break down through, but it broke right back up quickly, and then it respected it again on a retest. Are we going to get one last test? before we continue on up. We can see the same thing happens on the hourly, that it does respect it fairly well. And what happens is once we break above and stay above for a few hours, it tends to continue up there. You know, unless we sent up with too much velocity too quickly, it sometimes sends back down. See? Like that was only a couple hours that it actually stayed above. Once it had came above and retested and stayed above for a little while, then we stayed above for quite a while. On the hourly, this is. So we're seeing some resistance here on the 100 MA, but I think again, once we push through this, it's going to show strength. We can see again volume on the VPVR. This is a major volume sort of area, right? So this is one of our biggest battles, is where we are right now. So between this red line and this yellow line, this is where majority of the volume of this coin is traded. So once we move past that, we see a lot of volume in this 5 to 6 range. It gets less and less though. So what does that mean? That means that like we got down here, and then coming back up in volume, we can see there's a lot of volume there, and then it continued coming up into this hill here. So that's exactly where we're at in price, is right in this volume area. So it's tough for us to push past here. We want to push past this volume area. Once we push past this volume area, it's air. So it's going to go like this, because there's not as much volume and even less volume. So best to illustrate it is, you know, lots of resistance here, comes up, less resistance here, comes up, less resistance, and less, and less, and less, right? So even though the corrections might be bigger, it's not going to spend as much time there. So that's just something to consider. Yeah, I think that's enough coverage for GME. Done charting on this for about 15 minutes. Let's check out the majors, and then we'll actually, I have another GME chart right here that we might have marked up. Right in the memes. Look at this, all the memes. Taking a hit today, taking a hit today. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, it's the same thing. I had that marked. That 4 is really what we want to sort of make our way up and get above it. And I think we move fairly quickly after that. So let's check out what's going on here with the majors. So USDT.D. And just give me a sec here. Okay, so, whoops. We came down, we're touching our level. So what happens here is, you know, we want to sort of pay attention. We have this trend, it could potentially break. If this trend breaks, we might have a lesser trend to follow. Yeah, we could follow a lesser trend as well. But this is a point we want to maybe pay attention to, so I'm going to actually leave that. I'm just going to leave that right there because we want to see if this breaks. If this trend breaks, then I think we continue seeing gas to the upside with Bitcoin and the rest of the market. So what's going on here with BTC dominance? So yeah, we were looking at this sort of area to either break up or reject. It looks like it is rejecting, and we're seeing a higher, lower high, sorry. So we created a high, low, lower high, lower low. I think we continue downwards. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. It's done enough of a job for us for now. And I think what we're looking at is this one, this lower one, and we're going to mark that one red. And so I think that's kind of what we see coming up here. BTC is starting to lose the attention as much when it comes to gains, but we are still very bullish. We're still very, very bullish. So not saying that it's over. I'm just saying maybe we take a little bit, like this is really what you would mark, is this stupid steep. But now, you know, I think we look at this to break. So this kind of trend, it is very tight. It could continue playing out. This whole liquidation event, we don't really want to ignore it. So I don't know, like that doesn't seem very accurate, so it's tough to draw an underneath line right now. We're just going to leave it as it is. Because, again, I think we're bullish and we're looking to break to the upside. There are some downside targets that I don't want to see sort of dip below type thing. Because we can see, you know, that's sort of the construction. So we don't want to see it lose this. Sort of 65 area. If it does, we could see it sort of retest back down into this 60 zone. So quite a bit of a range there. Again, I think we're bullish, and I think this this continues maybe like this. So that's a potential play out. Whereas if we're bearish, maybe we get a quick push out and then down, and then if we break that, it's down to here, and then we continue back up. So that's maybe the bearish play. But again, I think this, we got enough right here, liquidation wise. Oh, let's look on the 4 hour. So in a 4 hour candle, we got 8% to the downside, at least. So I think a lot of our liquidation of the leverage happened there. We've seen this happen across all crypto assets. So we'll take a look at ETH BTC real quick just to see where it is. We did go up here, but we didn't actually make a new high. So we know what's happening. Don't need a question mark anymore. It followed our trajectory there pretty dang close. But it did top out. And then, you know, we made a higher low still. So we're just kind of wedging in. So maybe once this breaks out of this wedge, we'll see some really fast upward movement from ETH. ETH on this, looking for this upgrade. We gotta mark some more stuff to the upside because it actually already pushed past all of our markers here. Let's see what's going on with BPVR. Is it going to give me something? Give me something to work with here. Okay, there's one. Yeah, that looks pretty good. There's some more. 4,200. So yeah, 4K. Just under 4K. 38-ish. Right, and then a lot of volume there. This is a climax, and then another climax to all-time high. So yeah, I think those are sort of points of interest as we move up. I mean, that looks crazy, right? So just sort of try to imprint this image. Let me take a look. Imprint that image into your brains, right? And we can see what's happening. This one made the U. This one's like that close to making the U. And now let's look at this one. Right? The U comes up to the 260 mark. So where are we at? 143. I was saying to buy this back in November, but I'm still saying buy this now. Because Solana, and I'm not, like, no financial advice, not investment advisor, all that sort of shit. But I'm saying buy it now because it's going to continue going past this mark. It's going to continue going past 260. Let's see what we had marked out here. Oh yeah, interesting. Oh, did the daily candle just print? UTC minus 7. Yeah. Yeah, daily candle just printed. Okay, so maybe that's why we've seen a little bit of a push down in price. BTC as well. Yeah, they tried to push price down for the daily. But it doesn't matter. New daily open. And one thing to take a look at, I was saying we lost our markers, but because this was up 10% and this was up 10% for Sol ETH and Sol BTC. And we can see there 8% one candle on a daily, and this one was 8.5% on one candle a daily. So this is the catch-up play I'm talking about. Just might be that it's happening a little bit later. So let's move that over a little bit. But that's literally what I think's happening. You know, keep an eye on these resistance points as they come up. There. But then I guess we continue for these all-time highs quite quickly. How much more bullish does it get, right? We're about to break out of this long sideways sort of action we've had since sort of December, right? That's on Sol ETH. Sol BTC is already broken out. That one made a new low, so let's have a look here because I gotta redraw this line. Okay, so we do have to incorporate that line. So we're about to break out on BTC as well, actually. So yeah, I mean, both of these kind of give us a pre-pump test, but then made a newer low here. So that's why we have to redraw this. Otherwise, normally we would be down to here. No, we'd be down right here. If this was the low, then this would be the angle, and we'd already be broken out. But since this tagged up there and made a lower low, then we're going to put this up here. And then we'll see this breakout in the next little while here. As we can see, Sol is absolutely ripping. On the past 2 daily candles, 4.5 and 10%, so 15% gains in US dollar term. And again, we had this sort of log, potato, log. April 20th, I was saying. That's when we're marking it out for. I'm not sure what this was for. We're gonna move that to April 20th. So that's at least while this meme March Madness is happening, this could go up even faster at this, at this trajectory that we're seeing now. Could potentially go up faster. Especially that we had this huge flush. Huge flush. Especially on Solana. Like, this was a little bit bigger, I think, on Solana than the rest. It's like a meme coin. 27.68% in the day it went down. So, like, if you were a buyer up here, you were shitting your pants. But if you're a buyer down here, you're fucking laughing right now. Because you're way above. And it means a lot more going up than down. If you bought those lows, you're up 40%. This is why they say buy the blood, right? Everybody was seeing this chart dump crazy amounts all at once. But we had a lot of volume here, as we can see. A lot of volume at the 100, 10, 109 to 112. There was a stupendous amount of volume there to sort of catch price. I think if we look at this on a smaller time frame, we can see that in real time. Let's go 1 minute to just get really granular on it to see what happened. The crazy thing is I happened to pull up my phone while I was snowboarding right around here, and within a few minutes I watched it dump and recover right back to where it dumped from. So this all took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes. Maybe 15, 16 minutes to get right back to 123. And it started at 126. So really crazy stuff can happen. There's no way to know when this type of thing happens. So I am going to start advising that, you know, people take profits if they're doing any sort of leverage trading, which ideally don't if you don't know what you're doing. Just buy spot, and then you can hold through stuff like that without having to worry about getting wrecked. But yeah, there would be no way of knowing, because it just shot up just before to, you know, 144, and it looked like it was about to break out at that point. Let's look at it on the hourly. So like at this point, just before it happened, we broke through this resistance. So we had this resistance right here. We broke up through it and broke right back down through it and basically plummeted all the way down and tagged this trend line that's coming up from way back here. Right? So I have a trend line from the beginning of this trend, which, you know, back in October, November, started moving up into the 20 to 30, 20 to 40 zones. This is literally when I started trading Solana big time. You know, and then breaks out of its resistance. Breaks out of its resistance. You know, might create another resistance point here, but I don't think so. We just got this news that Pantera is going to buy up all of FTX's, or like at least a large portion of FTX's Solana. So that was the 7th. That was right around here. Boom. Just shot up. 138 to 150 pretty much. So I think we're just taking a pit stop on Solana. This thing's gonna moon. Easy moon. Easy play. Where would you enter right now? If anyone's asking. We are sitting on top of this sort of area, so I think this is actually a good place you could enter. You know, you could potentially enter here. You don't want to see it lose 140. I potentially would say I wouldn't want to see it lose 143. Just because I have a marker. So I'd put it like just under 143. 142.829, that sounds pretty good. and target sort of 160. So that's a pretty big trade, right? Mind you, your downside is small, but the thing is that if it loses this sort of 143 area, I think, because you can see there's a lot of volume right here, so you might almost want to put it underneath that volume, just right under it like that. Still 6R trade. You don't want to see it lose that because it could potentially just drop down to 140. If you do want to make a bigger, you know, more swing style trade, you could potentially do this and go down. Really 140, I wouldn't like to see it go under, but there is a low right here, right around 136, 135. So yeah, kind of leaving it there or just under that point I have marked out. And then you would target much higher. So targeting something like 200 or even all-time highs. Because again, I think this is definitely the play. That we've seen that we had major resistance in this area. Not just from here, but also from way back here. Right? So this was our previous high, local high. Previous local high, and then it's kind of like above it is gas. Right? And this was the range that you could see. We were playing within this range. Between the previous all-time high and this sort of resistance points that I have marked out here. This one, and then I don't actually have anything on 150, but 150 makes sense that it's psychological. So 150 is just a good round number. That's why people are hitting that, and just maybe they've been targeting since 50 bucks. Or down here, maybe they're targeting from 75-ish, and they found this was a good play for them. This was almost a 2x, right? So that was a good play for some people. Either way, we had this marked out that we're going to shoot out of here and hit there, and we did make a bit more of a correction than I had anticipated. But again, this is exactly sort of where I have marked out that above this 140 that we'd make some form of zigzags. That's kind of what we're doing. We're maybe a little bit higher than I anticipated, which is, again, it's good. It's bullish because of the news that we're getting. You know, we see a 4-hour candle go down 3.3%, but this next 4-hour candle going up could go up 4% or 5-6%, you know what I mean? We could spend some time here, but I think for the most part we're moving up across the board. Yeah, I mean, things like DYM. I think I was telling you guys this. Once we get back up above this, we're going to gas. So this one as well, we see this trend line sort of broken and then really moved on up to the upside. This is kind of our next line of sort of resistance and whatnot. There's another one here. So 711, 765. Once we move past that sort of stuff, we're going to really start to move up because there's not much volume up there. So DYM looking to re-enter for sure. I think ARB, people were saying it was going pretty good. No, maybe not. No, AVAX is making its way back to where Solana broke out of. So this is maybe a catch-up play worth taking a look at. It's you know, it's back above where it corrected from after the flush, 15% down, back up. Jito, I think someone was saying this one's worth checking out right now as well. A lot of these charts, as you can see, are creating this big rounded cup type thing. Filecoin, I know this one, I think we said gas above here. Yeah, so we're just waiting to see what does it do above here. But I think for the most part it's going to be looking like up. So looking for a play on Filecoin right now. Aptos, I think this one Yeah, looking like it's creating that as well. Maybe above 1470. Gas above there. Atom, I heard, was up significantly as well. So that's kind of the down channel. It's breaking up out of that down channel. We probably want to pay attention up around here between 15 and 17. Let it do something and it will correct, and at that point we're going to see some gas to the upside. 33, 44. As you can see, a lot of these charts for altcoins and things, they're going to all look basically similar, unless you're looking at new stuff kind of like Tau, straight up, Render, straight up, WorldCoin, straight up, making a correction now, Fetch, straight up, PAL, straight up, AJX, straight up. So AI coins, yeah, these things are gas, and they're way up. So I think, yeah, a lot of these have really good potential moving forward. Good buy. We didn't make it out of this with Omni, so still waiting for that. WIF, what were we looking at? Oh yeah, it didn't correct, it just gassed. Right now we're in a correction area right here, so wait to see it get out of there. Bonk, same thing, correcting down. Wait to see it get out of there. Myro, same thing. Wait to see it. Doge. Yeah, we're in this area. Wait to see it get out of there. Pepe, same thing. Wait for some kind of correction, guys. These are all going to look very similar. I think these all move up into this April 20th. March Me Madness is happening right now, so again, we're correcting, but I think we're still looking for another leg up on these guys, and then potentially a third leg up to really finish it all off. One thing I did say I was going to mention is VIX. We don't really look at this, and we haven't yet, but this is something to pay attention to, because the volatility index is important. We can see here in 2020, we could see the volatility just skyrocket, right? And so as we could see this come back down, that's when we knew when to start, reinvesting into the markets. But we did have it stay up pretty high for a pretty long time, right? And then it wasn't until, around here, I would say around January 21, we've seen the last few couple spikes, and then it just started to dip down, at least base down under 20. So I think seeing it under 20 for a while, it helps risk on assets. But just seeing what we're seeing now with this base slowly rising, it can yield some form of caution if this does decide to sort of continue rising upwards. And then once we break this sort of area, I would say maybe pay attention to the VIX in any sort of area past where we're going now, maybe even around 16. Just be wary of the VIX, because that could tell you that it's a little more dangerous to be trading in the markets. That having been said, this could be, it's topped around here before as well, so we could see a sort of head and shoulders play out, and this continue going down. Tough to say. We don't really do a lot of that on the VIX because we don't know, and anything can change that very quickly. I think we did take a look at dollar index, and this is what we like to see, that the dollar is going down and things like the S&P are continuing on their parabolic journey up, right? So all-time highs were back here at 48.20, and since we broke out of that, it's been gas to the upside. That means NASDAQ, that means US 30, that means all these charts are just going to continue running. Things like NVIDIA, absolutely on a tear. Post-market up another $20. I mean, I did this W, and look at that. It broke that high, and it just gassed. AMD, that one's following, right? MicroStrategy, this is what we were looking at as a parabolic advance. And it just followed it, right? So it did it much faster. That's how fast I expected. It went straight up. We're looking at all-time highs there. Even things like ARC, which were beat into the literal ground, starting to look like they're pushing up on these sort of roofs. So yeah, this could get pretty silly. Coin, that's unreal. Launched at 430, it's back into the base range. I think once we push past 281, push up to 369. All-time highs at 429. That's a pretty good 2x. So yeah, what were we looking at? Let's literally follow my exact palm. Yeah. Some markers on Nintendo. Looking like a good buy for me right now. I think Apple makes a comeback here somewhere. Maybe a little lower. Then it makes a comeback. Tough to say. Tesla always, like, it seems like they're getting beat into the ground. But just wait for that to break out, right? I think this breaks out eventually. You know, we'll see something like that play out. Play it in there. Play it in there, and yeah, this should be a pretty big gas move to the upside. Everything looking bullish. Thanks for tuning into the charts.